Hey Zwifters, and welcome to the final recon of this season of the Zwift Racing League. We're in Paris, it's the Lutece Express. I apologise to all my French-speaking teammates. In fact, all the subscribers and watchers who speak French. I'm probably going to mess a lot of this up, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Please, don't leave too much criticism in the description below. But let's crack on. Actually, first of all, I want to say a few thank yous, not only to the sponsors of this channel, but Provision Clothing, of course, and then WKG Sports, all your indoor training requirements. But also there's some key members of the community out there who really help with these recons in terms of making sure we've got the exact distances for the finish lines, but also the segments. We've used race footage wherever possible and appropriate as well, which has been really, really helpful. I think that's the feedback I'm getting from the community. But thank you also to my own teammates, Steve Troymans in particular, who helps with a lot of the recon stuff. Also Antoine from Team Dirt, you know who you are. You help with the distances a lot this year as well. He's a real scientist when it comes to knowing the exact distances of the segment start and segment finish. So thank you to those members in the community who help with these recon videos every single week. But let's crack on. This week we've got two different distances. A and B riders, you're doing 6 laps. C and D, 4 laps. This is the longest race of this season so far. So that's fitting, but it's also fitting that we're in Paris. So it's cobbles all the way. We've got 1 sprint, but we're going to do it 4 or 6 times. In fact, no, we're going to do it 7 or 5 times respectively, because we've got this lead-in and we will go through the sprint and the lead-in as well. All right, so in terms of power-ups, we've got the aero. So super useful on this finish, but also super useful on this sprint as well. You just got to think about your timing on utilising that. It's a short sprint, but of course it is also slightly downhill as well, so something to consider. We've got the feather also, which again is going to be useful on that drag up the cobbles on the other side before we get and loop around the Arc de Triomphe. And then most importantly, we've got the steamroller this week as well. We're on cobbles, so essentially this is going to reduce the rolling resistance and make it more like tarmac or pavement. So there's 1 segment on this, the Lutece Express, and that's a Champs-Élysées reverse sprint. It's slightly downhill. It's on cobbles though, so the minute you back off, the speed will slow down pretty quickly unless you've got the right power-ups here. But this is where the majority of the points are available, both first across the line and FTS, the fastest through segment points available here. But of course, there's only 1 FTS for the whole race. Top 10 take the points there. But again, are there opportunities? I think there are opportunities on this course to make it really hard for those sprinters to maximise their sprint or even stay in touch with that lead group. If you're not a sprinting team, that's what you've got to look at doing. If you are a sprinting team, then we'll take a look at the sprint in a bit more detail and have a look at how you can maximise your points each and every lap. Of course, then we've got the finish line. The finish line, again, is downhill on cobbles. It's 1,500 metres after the end of the sprint, so there's something to think about there on that last lap as well. Enough talking. Let's get out on course and take a look. Before we get on course, the recon notes are done. You can find a copy here, but you can also find a link to a copy of the recon notes in the description below. And that's going to give you the distances of the sprint, the finish, but also this drag section up to the Arc de Triomphe. So we're going to leave the pens, take a left, we're on cobbles, and actually you're straight into a slight incline here as well, because it's about 1.5 kilometres until you get to the start of that loop that goes around the Arc de Triomphe. If you're a non-sprinting team and you're looking for somewhere on the course to put the pressure on, this is the place. 1.5 kilometres, 2 to 4% gradient. It's on cobbles. This is where you guys can make it hard and sap the legs of those sprinters. All right, so we're then going to loop around the Arc de Triomphe and then head towards that first sprint. The first sprint, lap 1 on the lead-in, is going to start at kilometre 2.0. That's kilometre 2. It's downhill slightly. The sprint is 220 metres long. It is on cobbles, but as I said, it's flat to downhill. So again, you can utilise the momentum there. You won't have a power-up for this first sprint, but of course you will pick a power-up when you go through it. So the sprint ends at kilometre 2.2. All right, so immediately after the sprint, you've basically got 1,400 meters downhill until you get to the official start finish banner, and you're going to start lap 1. So lap 1 is officially going to start at kilometer 3.6. We're then going to go around the Plaza de la Concorde through the gardens before we head back up the arc towards the Arc de Triomphe up these cobbles. You're going to go once again past the pens, and then we're once again going to start this climb back up to the Arc de Triomphe. So this climb, once you've gone past the pens up towards the Arc de Triomphe, is going to start at kilometer 7. And once again, you'll get on lap 2 or lap 1, if you like, official. You're going to get to the top and round that loop at kilometer 8.3 or 8.4, depending on which pen you started at. But once again, all these are in the recon notes. So once again, we're going to loop around the Arc de Triomphe and head towards that sprint, which is going to start at kilometer 8.7, 220 meters. So it's going to finish at approximately 8.9 or 9.0, dependent again which pen you start in. Once again, just watch out for any splits as you descend down here. Unlike when we came around this in the reverse direction last season, I don't expect there to be too many splits after the sprint. It's on the opposite side of the course where I think the splits are going to come. So again, 1,400 meter descent on the cobbles until you cross that start finish banner again and start lap 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, I guess in this case. So just to reiterate, it's 6 laps plus the lead-in for the A and B, and it's 4 laps plus the lead-in for the C and D riders. That's 43.3 kilometers for the A and B and 30.1 for C and D riders. All right, so just to summarize those power-ups again, we've got the aero for the sprint, both on the finish and that sprint preem. We've got the feather, which is going to be useful on that drag up towards the Arc de Triomphe, and then you've got the steamroller, which has got multiple uses here, either on that drag, on the finish, or on the sprint, basically reducing the rolling resistance of those cobbles. All right, so in terms of bike choice, aero will rule the day here. I just don't think there's enough climbing to benefit with any kind of all-round or climbing setup. So just go for the most aero setup you have available at your level. As always, I will leave a link to those most important pages on the Zwift Insider website, which will tell you exactly what frame and wheel choice you should make. If you've got the Tron bike, go for the Tron bike. I think that's my choice this week. That's the one I'm going to be utilising. We're also in the playoff hunt this time, and we're up against TBR 48 Tooth, I want to say. We're very much a sprinting team. So tactically, I'm not going to share too much because this week I might get told off from my teammates. But have a think about your opportunities as a team, where your strengths lie, and plan accordingly. All right, so in terms of recon, actually this week I'm going to be doing, I think I'm doing the recon with the Rave team for the RaveCon. That's Sunday evening, 5 p.m. Come and join me on the course. Let's have a chat along the way. You can either join me here on YouTube and I'll do a live feed, or even better, come and join the ride and I'll try and talk and type at the same time. Have a great week's training, and let's look forward to the final stage, unless you make the playoffs, Stage 8, Lutece Express in Paris. As always, guys, if you don't mind, before you click away, just go down, give it a thumbs up, and give us a subscribe as well. We've got plenty of new content coming in between seasons. I'm going to be racing the Mad Mondays, actually, in between seasons this time. But also, I've got some racing tips and tactics specific videos coming up. And of course, we've got to cover the e-racing World Championships as well. So I might do a watch along there as well. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Have a great week's training. Ride on.